Have you ever found yourself on the ground, staring at the ceiling, wondering, what am I going to do now? Life has a way of knocking us down, clobbering us over the head with challenges that seem insurmountable. And in those moments, when everything around you is dark and doubt is gnawing at your resolve, it feels like the world is closing in on you. But here's the thing, those very moments are what define us. What if I told you that when you're in that dark valley, when you feel like you've hit rock bottom, that's where the real work begins? Because it's not the easy times that shape us. It's the storms we weather, the battles we fight when life seems most unfair. Let me take you back to a time when a man named Jake was at his lowest. He was climbing a mountain. No, not just any mountain, but the mountain of his life. It was filled with obstacles. Losing a job he loved, the breakdown of his most cherished relationships, and a failing health condition that threatened to take everything from him. Jake was knocked down, beaten and broken. The darkness surrounded him, just like it surrounds you now. He was at a crossroads, asking himself, what am I going to do now? But instead of giving in, Jake made a choice. He realized that while he couldn't control the storm raging around him, he could control how he responded to it. Jake understood something crucial. The worst thing you can do is let something out of your control you. He knew he had to get control of himself first, his emotions, his thoughts, his actions. Jake didn't let anger or frustration guide his decisions. Instead, he found a calm in the storm, a clarity in the chaos. He started to figure out his next move, one step at a time. Jake began to toughen up mentally and emotionally, because life isn't going to get easier, it's going to get harder. And he knew he had to rise to the occasion. He had to become tougher than the obstacles in front of him. And here's where the story changes. Jake, in the middle of that storm, realized something powerful. This too shall pass. Just like every storm he'd faced before, this one would pass as well. He understood that just because he had failed didn't make him a failure, and just because he had lost didn't make him a loser. Jake knew that if he could just hold on a little longer, if he could keep pushing through, he would come out on the other side stronger. Jake began to speak life into his situation. He wasn't a product of his environment, nor of the external storms that surrounded him. He knew that what mattered was his response, so he declared it. I can get through this. I will get through this. I must get through this. Jake took full responsibility for his life. He said, I got myself here. I can get myself out, and I am getting out. He refused to be a volunteer victim, instead taking ownership of his circumstances. And with every challenge, every setback, he increased his willpower. He looked at the darkness and said, is this all you've got? Because I was born in the dark, shaped by it, molded by it, and I will break you. Jake took his pain and recycled it. He let it push him to levels he never thought possible. He kept moving, even when every step was a struggle, even when doubt whispered in his ear. He made up his mind that the only way he could lose was if he quit, and quitting was never an option. Just like a diamond that's formed under pressure, heat, and cuts, Jake became unbreakable. He knew that every trial, every hardship, was shaping him into someone stronger, someone who could not be broken. Now here's my question to you. When life clobbers you across the head and knocks you down, when you're lying there in that dark valley, everything seems lost, and you're asking yourself, what am I going to do now? What are you going to do? Will you let this moment define you, or will you rise above it? Will you stay down, or will you stand up and fight back? Because this is your moment, your storm, and how you respond right now will shape the rest of your life. The question is, what will you do next? Remember, you are stronger than any storm you face. You are tougher than any obstacle in your path. And no matter what life throws at you, you have the power to rise, to fight, and to become unbroken.